New York City, Manhattan, NBC Studios, October 1988. Thursday evening, 7:15 p.m. The studio audience is settling into their seats. 200 people packed into a space that feels both intimate and theatrical. The air conditioning hums quietly, fighting against the heat from the massive studio lights mounted on metal grids above. Camera operators adjust their positions. Producers speak into headsets. Makeup artists do final touch-ups on guests waiting in the wings. This is the set of a popular late-night talk show, the kind that attracts celebrities, politicians, athletes, the kind where conversations are supposed to be light, entertaining, safe. Tonight feels different. There is tension in the air that the crew can sense but cannot name. Mike Tyson is the scheduled guest. He is 22 years old, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. He has destroyed every opponent put in front of him. 35 wins, 31 by knockout. Most of his fights do not reach the third round. He is the most feared fighter on the planet, the youngest heavyweight champion in history, dangerous, powerful, unstoppable. But there is another guest tonight, one who was not originally scheduled, one who requested to be here specifically because Mike Tyson would be here. His name is Colonel James Bradford, retired U.S. Marine Corps, 58 years old, gray hair cut military short, face weathered by decades of service, 2 tours in Vietnam, decorated for valor, recipient of the Silver Star and Bronze Star. He walks with a slight limp from a leg injury sustained in combat in 1969. He has spent the last 20 years working with veterans, helping those who came home broken, physically and mentally. The host welcomes Mike Tyson onto the stage. The audience erupts in applause. Some people stand. Tyson walks out wearing a simple black suit, white shirt, no tie. He moves with that distinctive walk, shoulders rolling, head slightly down. He sits in the guest chair, settles in, gives a small nod to the audience. The host starts with the usual questions. Training routine, upcoming fights, life as champion. Tyson answers briefly, quietly. His voice is higher than people expect, soft, almost gentle. It contradicts everything about his public image. Then the host mentions that there is a special guest in the audience tonight, someone who specifically wanted to meet the champion. Colonel James Bradford stands from his seat in the third row. The camera finds him. The audience applauds respectfully. Mike Tyson looks over, sees the military uniform, the medals, nods in acknowledgement. The colonel does not nod back. He just stares. The host invites the colonel to come forward. There is a microphone set up for audience questions. The colonel walks slowly, deliberately. His limp is more pronounced under the studio lights. He reaches the microphone, looks directly at Mike Tyson. The studio goes quiet. The colonel speaks. His voice is clear, steady, command voice, the kind developed through years of leading men in combat. Mr. Tyson, I have a question for you. You are celebrated as a warrior. People call you Iron Mike. They say you are the baddest man on the planet. You make millions of dollars hitting people in a boxing ring. But I want to know something. What have you ever sacrificed? What have you ever truly fought for, besides money and fame? The question hangs in the air like smoke. The audience is dead silent. The host shifts uncomfortably. This was not supposed to happen. This was supposed to be a light segment. Mike Tyson stares at the colonel. His jaw tightens. The anger is visible, the kind that has preceded violence countless times before. But then something unexpected happens. Mike Tyson does not explode, does not stand up, does not challenge the colonel. He just sits there, looking at this older man, this war veteran, this person who has seen real combat, real sacrifice. And for the first time in a long time, Mike Tyson does not have an answer ready. The colonel continues, his voice gaining strength. I do not mean disrespect, Mr. Tyson. I am sure you work hard. I am sure you train. But I have watched young men die in my arms. I have carried bodies of soldiers who gave everything for their country. I have seen what real fighting costs. And then I come home, and I see you on magazine covers, celebrated as a warrior, as a fighter, and I wonder if you understand what those words really mean. I wonder if you have ever fought for something bigger than yourself. This is where the story truly changes. Because what happens next is not what anyone expects. Mike Tyson does not defend himself, does not argue, does not dismiss the colonel's words. Instead, he does something he rarely does in public. He becomes vulnerable. Mike Tyson leans forward in his chair. His voice when he speaks is quiet, barely picked up by the microphone. You are right, he says. I have not sacrificed like you have. I have not fought for my country. I have not seen what you have seen. The audience is stunned. This is not the Mike Tyson they know, not the aggressive, dominant, untouchable champion. This is someone else, someone uncertain, someone honest. Tyson continues, I grew up in Brooklyn, Brownsville, one of the worst neighborhoods in New York. I saw violence every day. I saw people get hurt. I saw people die. By the time I was 13, I had been arrested 38 times. I was angry. I was lost. Boxing saved my life. Cus D'Amato, my trainer, he took me in. He taught me discipline. He taught me focus. He gave me purpose. Without boxing, I would be dead or in prison. So when you ask what I fight for, I fight to survive. I fight because it is the only thing I know how to do. The colonel listens, his expression unchanged. Then he speaks again. Survival is important, Mr. Tyson. But it is not sacrifice. Sacrifice is when you give up something precious for others. Sacrifice is when you put yourself in danger, so others do not have to be. You fight in a ring with rules, with a referee, with doctors standing by. I fought in jungles where the only rule was survival, where young men, 18, 19 years old, died because they chose to serve their country. That is fighting. That is sacrifice. Mike Tyson nods slowly, says, You are right. I cannot compare what I do to what you did. I would not try to. The respect in his voice is genuine, and that detail explains everything. Because Mike Tyson, the man who has intimidated every opponent, every reporter, every challenger, is showing deference to this war veteran, is acknowledging something bigger than himself. But then the colonel says something that cuts deeper than any punch Mike Tyson has ever taken. Mr. Tyson, I did not come here to humiliate you. I came here because I need your help. Mike Tyson looks confused. The audience leans forward. The colonel continues, There are thousands of veterans who come home broken. They suffer from trauma. They cannot find work. They are homeless. They are forgotten. You have a platform. You have influence. You have millions of fans. I came here to ask if you would use that platform to help them. To help the real warriors, who gave everything and received nothing in return. The silence in the studio is total. This was not an attack. This was a plea. A challenge, yes, but also an invitation. An opportunity for Mike Tyson to become something more than a champion. To become someone who fights for others. Mike Tyson sits back in his chair. For several seconds, he does not speak. The camera stays on his face. You can see the thoughts moving behind his eyes. Finally, he says, Yes, I will help. Tell me what you need. The colonel nods. Thank you, Mr. Tyson. That is all I wanted to hear. The audience applauses, but it is different now. Not the enthusiastic cheering from earlier. This is respectful, thoughtful. They have witnessed something unexpected. A confrontation that became a conversation. A challenge that became a partnership. After the show, Mike Tyson and Colonel Bradford spend 30 minutes backstage talking. The colonel explains the work he does with veterans. The programs that need funding. The advocacy that needs attention. Mike Tyson listens, asks questions, takes notes. Before they part, Tyson says something that the colonel later repeats in interviews. He says, I thought I was tough. I thought I understood fighting. But you showed me I have been fighting for myself. Maybe it is time I learned to fight for others. Over the following months, Mike Tyson donates money to veteran organizations. He visits VA hospitals. He speaks publicly about the importance of supporting those who served. It is not publicized heavily. He does not use it for promotion. He just does it. Because something changed that night in the studio. Something fundamental. Years later, after Mike Tyson's career has taken him through victories and defeats, through prison and redemption, through chaos and eventually peace, he is asked about that night, about the war hero who challenged him on live television. Mike Tyson says, That man taught me the difference between being strong and being important. I was the heavyweight champion. I could knock anyone out, but I was not important. Not in the way he was. Not in the way people who sacrifice for others are. That night made me question everything I thought I knew about myself. And that questioning saved me. Colonel James Bradford passed away in 2003. At his funeral, Mike Tyson was there. He spoke briefly, telling the story of that night in 1988. How a war hero humiliated him, not with insults, but with truth. How that humiliation became the beginning of understanding. How learning you are not as important as you think is the first step to becoming someone who actually matters. The lesson remains. Strength is not the same as sacrifice. Fame is not the same as purpose. And sometimes the people who challenge us most directly are the ones who care about us most deeply. Mike Tyson learned that from a war hero on live television, and it changed everything.